one. So a lot of you guys may have seen our previous video we did that talked about how COVID-19 it was for us. I mean, it affected like every business and like every business differently. For us, it was both like, I don't want to say necessarily good, but we got a lot more sales, but that also then forced our business to have to try to scale at like a much faster rate than we normally would have. So it made it a little bit more interesting and brought some challenges. We got probably different challenges than most businesses had to face. And so like we got a ton of orders, but we had a lot less people coming in because a lot of people were either afraid or wanted to stay home. The government regulations made it a little bit more tricky as well. And so we kind of did all that, and to combat that, with the increased orders, increased need for more people asking questions and more customer service, as well as needing to get more builds out, we immediately started hiring customer service people, just kind of training them briefly and getting them there answering calls so that people could have answers. And then we also then hired like a ton of builders to try to make sure we could just get PCs shipped out as fast as possible while still making it while the build manager was constantly walking around checking all the PCs, making sure that the new builders were trying their best to stay up to like the quality standards that we wanted. So that was kind of like our immediate thing when everything happened, was just try to get as many people on it as possible to make sure we were getting customers answers, trying to get as many builds shipped out with builders, trying to make sure we had parts in, and just kind of trying to get it all done as fast as we can. Now we're at the point where we have all these people, we have a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, and we need to kind of like hone it in to make it where it's more efficient, because right now there is just a ton of people doing stuff that is beneficial but not in an efficient way. So that's kind of what we're working. Well, I know we dove into a little bit more of kind of like some of the more detailed side of COVID-19 in another video, which we'll link in here somewhere. So now pretty much what I need to do is I want to think of the 3 areas that I need to work on the most that need improvement. And so I mean I kind of have a good idea of what those are going to be. I mean, we have so many builders here that we're pretty good on builders, but with all this going on, there's been a lot more things related to parts. So such as like a lot of suppliers being unavailable right now or closed down. There's because we're selling so much more, all of our reorder points are different, and like how much stuff we have to keep in stock at a certain time has completely changed. So I kind of got to refigure out how we're going to make sure we keep everything stocked for not only all the orders that we have currently, but to anticipate the future orders that are coming. So that's kind of a big thing, and then making sure we can fit it in our current location, because we're planning to move soon, just because we're going to need more space. But at this current time, like obviously we still need to ship out PCs while we're here. So gonna try to brainstorm 3 things and come up with a plan. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I just wrote out a new system to determine the parts that we need and how to make sure we stay stocked on it. It's a little bit more confused. It sounds confusing. It's pretty straightforward. There's probably some sort of software I can find that'll do this, but I couldn't find anything that was amazingly perfect for it. So I kind of just came up with more of a system. So pretty much what it does is it determines the amount of parts we need to have ordered right now. So like at every given time. So it calculates the amount of products we have sold plus the number of products in the back. So for each item, so let's say AM4 motherboards, it calculates the number we have sold, it calculates how many we have back, plus how many we have ordered, and then determines the amount of sales we have, and then how long it takes for us to get more stock in. That shows us the amount we need to have in stock and ordered at one given time. So if that number in the Excel document I made is negative, then that shows that we need to order that many additional quantity. If they're positive, it shows we have enough that we don't need to order more at this exact moment. So that's kind of the simple version of it. I could give way more detail on it, but that's kind of the simple gist. But we've got Carl, who's our inventory manager. So now all I need to make sure of is I need to, number 1, tell Carl about the system and train him kind of how it works. I mean, it's when he looks at it, it's pretty straightforward how it functions, and I just need to make sure he stays true to the number that he needs to reorder at. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to him about it, I'm going to sit down and explain it all, and then I'm going to let him know that, hey, if he can't source one of these parts or has an issue finding something, or for some reason has some issue with a shipment, that he comes and lets me know, so that I can actually take a look into it to make sure that we find a way to stock it. Because there's always a way, it just sometimes takes a little bit more effort. than the other way. And then like kind of one of the final things was customer service and that was what I was thinking about a little bit here as well, because again, we have a ton of agents and they're up there and they're answering the calls fast and they're responding fast to people and they're doing things like that, but they're not as well trained to be customer service agents. So I want to work on training them and working on tonality and things like that, but more than anything, I'm hoping to get them I've kind of created a system to make it so that we actually are going answering the customer's questions before they even ask them. So if someone's starting to think, hey, when's my PC going to be shipping out? It's getting around that time. We have it set up so that the customer service agents are notified and can actually reach out to the customer first, send them an email saying, hey, looks like it was supposed to ship out right around this date, and can let them know if it's still going to be on time for that, or if they need to give them a updated shipping date. So the goal though there is whether it's still on time or needs to be pushed back a little bit, we can be ahead of the customer, keeping them informed before they even ask us a question about it, to try to just make sure that we always keep them happy. And aside from that, the tonality as well is a big thing. Tonality is such a huge difference when you're talking with people customer service wise. So if you talk to someone on the phone, you can't see their facial expressions, you don't know exactly what they're feeling. It's harder to read people, so it's all about your tone on the phone. And a lot of customer service agents, I mean, you could say the same thing in a worse tone and make the whole conversation, the whole vibe completely different. So if someone calls and they're like, hey, what's going on with my order? And the customer service agent just says, oh, thank you for calling. Let me take a look at that. I'll see if I can get you some information. Versus they're saying, hey, yeah, how's it going? Yeah, let me take a look at that, see if I can figure something out for you. Give me 1 second. Like the same thing is pretty much said, but the whole vibe is totally, totally different. The customer's happier. It feels like they're actually talking to a person and not a robot. It just makes it where it's more enjoyable for the customer, for the customer service agent too, because they don't have to walk around their day feeling like a robot. They can actually like communicate with people. And it makes the whole situation more comfortable for everyone. Now, tonality is something I'll probably have to make like a whole video on itself because of how important it is. But that's one of the big things we're going to be training the customer service agents right now too. So aside from that new system to make sure they're answering customers' questions ahead of time, but also focusing on when they do talk to customers, whether it's on the phone or even in messages, that they're using like really good tonality. Let's go talk to them. Cool, awesome. So I went and talked with everyone back there. I got a lot of stuff figured out with the build manager, Alex. Told him like the new system, and I sat down with Carl for a while and I explained how the new actual inventory system and reorder points will work. Pretty much how it's going to play out now is it's kind of like now that we set it up and we've got the ball rolling, it's not just immediately we're like, okay, everything is perfectly corrected and changed overnight. Seems like it obviously, like especially with reordering points now, changing reorder points, it makes it where now there's like a few day period between where our current reorder points are at and the amount of parts we have in stock versus like the updated reorder points, and like making sure that the new stock is in at those numbers. So we should be, based off the new things I set up with the inventory system, with making a couple adjustments with the builders to make it so they're more efficient, within about 14 days we should be caught up on our orders by about 33%. And as we continue to do that, it's going to continue to get better and better until we literally are at like 0 orders and we're just shipping out the same day that orders come in. And so we should be going consistently forward from this point, especially with these new systems in place. So I'm excited now. I'm excited to be moving in the right direction and getting that going the way we want it, and then we will continue to try to get us pretty much back to that point where orders are coming in and we're shipping it out as soon as an order comes in, and then we can bump up our marketing and try to continue to scale up from there and get more people in, and then make more videos and review videos and a bunch of stuff like that. But before we do anything review video or additional sale wise, that the whole goal right now has been getting caught up on that. So now I'm excited. We're on a good track now to get caught up, and I'm thinking within the 14 days there'll be such a noticeable difference that it's going to be amazing, both for us, for our customers, for people ordering then. So I'm excited. So it's been a good day. I'm happy with it. Works out.